I want to talk to you about Target. I totally get you need Target's dollars to even do this event. You don't have to explain that.
Okay.
But was that a tough decision, being that the Jamal Bryants, the Tamika Mallorys, the Nina Turners have staged this boycott against Target that a lot of people are participating in?
Yeah, so those are always difficult decisions, right? And this wasn't a, hey, we decided to go with Target against the boycott, or hey, we decided to go with the boycott against Target, right? You've got to remember what our value proposition is to this community, and that is to help them build their businesses and to help them build the infrastructure that supports their business, right? We build the infrastructure, they build their businesses. So it wasn't a decision around here's this boycott that we want to go against, or here's this retail partner that we want to support, right? It was the decision, first of all, was we already had a contract, right, prior to all of this, 4 years now. And they've been good partners, right? They've done what they've told us they were going to do. And even recently, not recently, at Festival, Brian Cornell, their CEO, came on the ground. He's like, look, I want to see the people. I want to talk to the people. I want to understand. But he also shared that we haven't stopped doing the things that we had committed to. We're going to complete. We've made a $2 billion commitment.
To who? To the black community?
Black community.
But isn't that the whole point of the protest is that because they rolled back the DEI initiatives, but they haven't, done those things, from what I've been told.
No. So what he shared was that they actually never stopped those things, right? Their $2 billion commitment, he said that they are going to complete that $2 billion commitment by the end of this year.
They just can't label it DEI because they're scared of Trump.
I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but what I will say is that they've committed to and have exercised, and from what I've been able to see, they have done what they said they would do. Certainly with the businesses that are in their retail environment, which is where I think the bulk of those dollars go anyway. But that's not for me to answer, right? What I can say though is that they have shown me and provided evidence that they've continued those programs. They've continued their HBCU program and the scholarships. They've continued their dollar commitments, right? So for our decision making was based on the economic impact or the inadvertent economic impact that we're seeing in the black businesses. So if that convention center didn't happen, there's 200 vendors that would have lost their income for that weekend, right? Which, as I said earlier, for some of them is the bulk of their income. There are there are brands that have been preparing all year to have a showcase to get retail distribution, right? So there's other retailers that come there, because we also have a program through the New Voices Foundation that trains up our vendors to be ready to go into retail. So that's the other thing that we do. We have almost 30,000 black businesses on our platform and women-owned businesses on our platform that we're providing developmental services to every day and also at the festival, right? So that's everything from preparedness to go into retail to business planning, supply chain development, all the things that it takes to do that. So we've also then, as a result of that, really curated the SoCo market so that when our guests come in, they're getting the best of the best, and that when retail partners come in, they're able to then say, hey, they're ready to do business and go to the next level, right? So we don't want to deprive them of that opportunity. Greater than that is they've already made the investments, right? Some of these people have, not some of them, many of them, because where do we go to get funding in our community when we need to build a business? Today, right?
GoFundMe.
Right. Right? So part of what they use this weekend for is to recoup the investments that they've made. So how do they get these investments? They're taking out second mortgages on their homes. They're drawing down on their 401ks. They're borrowing from their neighbors and their friends and their family.
Go for
Every single person here, right? Right? And if they don't get these opportunities, what happens to them? Right? So we've got to think about. So it kind of, you know, I'm older than all of you guys. I grew up at a time where it was, you know, it was we had MLK to follow and learn about, and you had two sides to MLK's platform. The first one was the civil rights platform. The second one, which he didn't get to see all the way through, unfortunately, and we can all speculate as to why, was the economic rights platform.
That's right.
Right? So the boycott is focused on the civil rights platform. I'm focused on the economic rights platform. That's what I've done my entire career, right? 30-something years now, almost 40 years. This is what I've done, right? I started when I was 19 years old, right? So almost 40 years. It's kind of crazy to think, right? But that's all I've done, right? All I've done is build businesses that invest back in Black communities and develop new businesses that can then stand on their own. So I'm faced with this, and I'm seeing the impact that this is not just having here, but also on shelf. So, yeah, the boycott can, our voice has been heard. There is no doubt about it. Our voice has been heard. Fantastic, right? My question is, what next, right? And how do we now protect those businesses that have been impacted? Because Target's traffic may be down, right? Their revenue may be down. But think about those, I don't know how many, I know that we're involved with maybe 20 businesses in that sell to Target and at other retailers, but we're talking specifically here. Some of them, their businesses are down more than 50%. Some of them, their business, the average is around 30%, right?
The black-owned businesses that are in Target.
Yes, right? Because the traffic isn't there. And so the impact of that is the longer this goes on, I can't pay my mortgage. I can't pay you back the money that I borrowed from you, right? I can't send my kids to the schools that I've now put them in because I thought, hey, I've got this business that's ramping up, right? I'm worried about healthcare because there's all kinds of changes coming there. There's an undue amount of stress that goes on those businesses as a result of this, right? The boycott, I think, has served its purpose. I think it has been one that showed our economic might. It showed our voice. It showed that we can be united. I'm all for that, right? But what I have to think about is how I make sure that these people and these businesses that have made these investments survive through this until all of that is resolved.
Can you move on from a boycott if a demand hasn't been met, though? Like again, if you have, because the whole point of boycotting is because you have demands. If Target hasn't met those demands, why should we tell people to move on?
If they have not met those demands?
If they haven't met those demands, why should we tell the protesters to move on?
Yeah, so I haven't told anybody to move on, right?
Sounds like you're saying that just a little bit.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. What I'm saying is that my responsibility, the place that I've lived my life, is in building out that ecosystem, right? So my job is to ensure that that ecosystem survives, right? That's my job, right? And that's what I'm doing.
I guess my other real quick, I just want to just from your standpoint, just Essence, right? Not the black-owned businesses within Target, just Essence and Essence Festival. If you would have said, you know what, I'm listening to the protesters, Target, I don't want y'all to be a sponsor this year, how would that have impacted y'all business? Because I know y'all had a contract.
We have a contract, so that would impact our business. I tell you something else, right? There's many others that have either pulled out of supporting black media and black businesses. There are many others that have cut down what they have what their commitments had been, or where they have invested before. So it's not just, this isn't just a issue that's related just to Target, right? This is an issue that, we've had partners, that didn't come back. Ford didn't come back, right? You used to be able to, do the ride and drive, and they've cut back. They didn't come back. Delta didn't come back, right? So there's partners in it, but we still put on the same show. We still put on the same event. So we're going to ride for our community, right? We knew we were going to take a loss going into this, but it's better to me that we take a loss and that that community, that business community, the broader community of New Orleans, the broader community that comes to Essence Festival, has an extraordinary experience. We did have hiccups, yes. So but this is the new world that we live in, and I think it's very important that we are that we're moving forward. Like we can't just go to sleep, or we're not going to wake up and it's going to be better. We got to work through it, right? And so I think that, like I said earlier, you've got the civil rights part, the civil rights and civil justice part, and you've got the economic rights and economic justice part of it. The two have to work, right? And so I'm looking forward to us getting the two to work. But in the interim, you've got to sustain what's there. Otherwise, it's not recoverable.
Do you bring it back next year? And, with the difficulties that you had this year, especially with sponsors pulling out, do you bring it back? And how
Absolutely.
do you
mean the festival?
That's not even a question.
Yeah, the reason I ask is, you said you took a huge loss this year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and you don't have the sponsorship. So how do you sustain that without raising prices and making sure that people can still enjoy what they enjoy without hitting the consumer in the pocket? Especially since you lost a car company, you lost Delta, and whoever else you lost.
Well,
those are big hits.
You never know. Next year they may be back.
Gotcha.
Right. They may be back, and there are other brands out there who value our community.
Correct.
Who want to engage with our community. Right. There's new revenue streams to find. There's new partners to go find. It's like we can't just give up because it's hard.
Gotcha.
Right. Because otherwise we won't be here.
I agree with you. And, yes, there is going to be criticism for any event. But based on what you just said, I wonder if people realize that, let's say next year, these companies that pulled out this year for DEI initiatives, they might want to come back, but they're not going to come back to something that is getting so criticized. They're not going to come back to something that's getting so slandered on social media. That's when they be like, I want to stay away from that.
Yeah, and the thing is, look, what we did this year was an extraordinary success. It had faults and issues like everything else, right? But I can go through the stats with you. You same number of people in the convention center, right? We're dealing with what feels like a recession, especially in our community. We're dealing with, the conscious decision of, do I support this or not support this, because I want to support my community, but I also want to support this economic stance that we're taking. We're dealing with all of those things, right? I don't think we'll be dealing with that next year, right? I have faith and confidence that we won't be. I can't speak for the economy, but I think the inner dialogue that we're having with ourselves around, do I do this? Do I not do this? I don't think we'll be dealing with that next year. And yes, the criticism doesn't hurt.
But you can't dismiss the economy, though, Rich.
No, that's what I'm not.
Things aren't going to get. They're not getting better.
The economy, but also too, this Target thing has been going on for a while. So if next year the boycott is still there, do you guys? I don't know how long your contract is. You guys will still be in contract next year, so they'll be back next year.
Yeah. So the answer to that question is, we have a responsibility to our community to deliver to them the best product that we can deliver, right? Every year we get better at delivering that product, right? To your point, the criticism doesn't help
at all,
right? It doesn't help at all, but it's not going to deter us from doing the work that needs to be done so that we can get those partners, right? And we can grow and we can scale and we can do the things. Like I said, our vision for this is not for next year. Our vision for this is 100 years out. So we're building the infrastructure that allows us to do that. We'll do the work. We'll make the adjustments from the that we see from the criticisms, the ones that are reasonable and that work, we'll do that, right? So as far as, what happens next year with partners, right? We have to go through the process to see what happens, right? We have to go through the process to see what other partners come through. We have to look at what's going on with the boycott, what changes are made to it, how things get resolved. So to your point, there is a resolution to everything, right? We have to come to a resolution. I think that will happen.